call the session, this special session of the Board of Aldermen and Board of Mayor and Aldermen. This is like I say, a special session where we got two items we're going to talk about tonight. One thing that we want to do kind of first, we thought it was suitable reframing since we have fought this thing for 4 years. There's our notice to proceed on the downtown Broadway. Jim thought it would be appropriate that we frame that since we only have been trying to do this thing getting finalized for 4 years. So he thought that he brought that in the office today after he got it framed.
Talked to Randy McKinnon this afternoon. He said that we were planning to go to bid December the 2nd. DDOT will not let us in the county bid the project together. It will have to be two separate bids. Those bids may be due in the same day, same time, but we cannot bid it as one project. So we could possibly have two different contractors, one for the county and one for the city, just to let you know. We will be planning to present the bids to the board at the December meeting for y'all to approve. Of course, that'll be contingent on TDOT's approval. Bids have to be submitted to them, bid tabs, and they have to sign off on them. So hopefully we'll have some approval by the first of the year. Construction may be able to begin February, March, hopefully.
Okay, like I said, we had two things on the agenda. The first one, and they're all here, we're going to talk about NEO. I'm going to ask Tom if all the other guys will come up here at the front, so in case questions our board need to ask them. Okay. What is kind of, what's happening here? If y'all remember Eagle Warehouse, Premier Seating, Jarvis, whatever names that our building has gone by over the last 20 years. Craig, Eagle Warehouse is kind of cleaned it out, and they're willing to get out of their lease and let us have the building back. I guess what, Tom, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a little longer than that.
A month ago.
Tom called us from NEO, looking for space, and we heard that Craig was cleaning his building out, and so I'm gonna let Tom kind of go over what's going on and any questions you have for him, and I was gonna tell you some things that we're doing.
Just to bring everybody up to speed, I'm Tom Fry. For those that don't know me, I'm the president of NEO Products. Dean Rice, he's our project manager on this job. GE came to us a little over a year ago asking us to do some assembly work for them on their washing machine backsplashes and refrigerator control panels. We have your ice and water in the door. And so we're doing that, some of that now. And now they've come to us, we leased the Mike Clark's building over Clarkville or there in Magic Valley. And we've just outgrown it in the 15 months that we've been there. Well, now GE has already come back to us with another project, which is going to require a lot more room and more personnel. And they want to get it done really quick. We're supposed to be in production middle to end of January. Have a facility yet. We've got several buildings that we were looking at, and the one that we'd like, obviously, is the one here in the industrial park. It's within walking distance. That makes it great. So I came to Bobby and asked him if that building was going to be available, and then everything happened. The cards all fell in place with Craig wanting to vacate the building, and so we're ready to lease that building. But we need a little help.
Yeah, things that we kind of, some general things we talked about, Jim kind of chimed in, and Brent kind of chimed in too, is that for some things that NEO has asked us to do, part of doing upgrading our building, since still will be our building. One would be dock levelers. We have dock levelers, which we looked at we got the bid on those. The other thing would be pouring a concrete slab. What were their dimensions on the concrete slab on the side there? 10 by 40. On the side, it's four. Two things. One is to come out one of the sides and bring.
You got the quote, I think, running the total square footage. I think the side, including the dumpster pad, the compactor, and outside the door and the compressor pad, with a total of 700 and some odd square feet.
And that's
And then we had another area on one of the docks, the ground level docks where the manhole is, and we had another area that was about a 15 by 12, 15 or something areas that we were talking about.
They've asked us to just add on that. The one area is putting a compactor there for all the stuff.
It's for corrugation.
Corrugation, to reach the pack, carry it off, and that kind of that. Yeah. That's one. The other thing is lighting. We have just brought TVA, came in, they've looked at it to upgrade the lighting in the warehouse park. Because NEO is planning on taking 6,000 square feet of the warehouse park, dropping the ceilings down and having an assembly area in there, which they will do that part. But we'll have to come back and retrofit our lighting in the warehouse park. The other thing is it's a building when's the last time a building was painted?
We're in the house. It's probably been 10 plus years ago.
The building needs painting, but also, as we looked at the painting, there's some damage done to the metal that I don't think any of us can figure out how that was done. It's about 15 feet up about 10 to 15 feet up on it from the outside. I don't know if the wind damage had thrown something against it. It's just one of those deals you don't know.
But there's daylight coming.
There's daylight coming in, and we just don't know. Nobody knows, really, I think everybody's trying to figure out how it happened, and I haven't got a clear answer yet.
And some of the structure behind that section, of course, there's an internal wall that you really can't see in the external wall, and that wall is bowed out. So I think somewhere along the way also that wall has been hit with a tow motor or some equipment, where once we pull the metal off, we're going to determine structurally, it's not structurally that'll hurt the structure itself staying up, it's just the wall itself.
Mm-hmm.
We may have to do some structural steel in that wall and replace some of the outer metal.
So we were talking about replacing some metal, and plus I got a guy to come down and look at painting it, and he made a statement in which we already knew that there's some metal probably would need to be replaced in some sections that are rusted, some gutters probably have rusted, we need to paint, so we were looking at that. Our cost, what we looked at our cost right now typically is figures.
We also have gravel.
Yeah, the gravel parking lot, where which is a good thing, they're needing us to gravel parking lot big enough for 35 employees. So we're talking about 35 cars, so that's something we can do now. But we kind of looked at it, right now tentatively, we've got the concrete, it's gonna run us around $4,800. The dock levelers, we went through a company that really used dock levelers, HCI, I think everybody uses them. They're about $2,200. The painting, I got the cost on the painting. He said it's high figure. This is has nothing to do with replacing metal. Just painting the building is going to run about $20,000. The lighting, we were sitting and talking to lighting. If we hire our electrician and our guys do, I guess the help the electrician about hoisting up and everything, we're looking probably between $5,000 and $10,000 on the lighting. Probably in the upgrade. We're supposed to get that back from TVA at the end of next week, I believe.
Yes.
And that part of it, and so we're kind of looking right now. We're setting it at about near $50,000 our upgrade. But we're realistically I'm sure it's going to there's some places that we got to fix some damage to the metal and stuff. The metal's not figured in yet in some places. So we're looking at about, I think ours, but for the budget items will be around 75 the budget to do that. Is that, Jim, that kind of where Brent, that kind of where we?
75, somewhere between 50 and 75. We just don't know the exact number.
I think that's kind of, I'll let Tom tell you what they're going to do the inside, because they've got some things they're going to do the inside.
Yeah, the offices, as you know, haven't been used in quite a long time as offices, and the facility's just been a warehouse. And we're going to have, like Bobby said, we're going to have anywhere from 25 to 35 employees in there at one time. And so we need restroom facilities, which are in there, but they are in horrendous shape. Our plan, and part of our agreement that we'd like to make with the city is we're going to put the bill for this. We're going to go in and redo the men's room. That can be cleaned up and area that Bobby had referred to, 6,000 square feet, and but it'll take up the west side of the building. It's 120 by 50. Okay. We're gonna build that out, put in drop ceilings, fluorescent fixtures, 60 lights. The parts we make are, it's for your appliances at home. So it's a very visual thing. So we've got to have really good lighting so that we can see if there's any scratches, discolorations, anything like that before we go ahead and assemble it. So we need really good lighting. We are estimating that our investment in that building, which will be your building, is going to be $50,000 to $60,000. So, we're going to have some skin in this game too. And we're not going to do anything major to the rest of the offices yet. We're going to see how the business grows, this aspect of it, and take it from there. But we're going to clean them up. We may paint them. Well, we have a lot of visitors from General Electric come down. The monogram plant obviously is right down in the cellar, and we deal with a lot of the same people. So we have traffic in and out between bankers and GE, and eventually we'll have Electrolux and Whirlpool and those folks coming to see the facility and what we're doing. So we want it to look nice. We want a nice impression. The lighting in the warehouse that Bonnie talked about, it's really necessary. I mean, there's lighting in there right now. There's some globe lighting, but it's not very bright, and some of the bulbs are reached the end of their life cycle. Some are yellow, some are white, some are soft white, daylight. There's all combinations in there. But we have a lot of small parts that go into big parts, and we need good identification of our parts and being able to have a lot of traffic. We're going to fill that all up with racks for storage of parts. So we really need some good lighting in there also. The other things, Bobby, Mayor King, we did ask if you could clean up that ditch alongside. Maybe this winter we could get somebody that it doesn't drain very well in big storms. And we talked about putting some outdoor security lighting.
Yes, we talked to part of the Southwest stood TDA to the inside. We're looking at Southwest and assisting poles, the box lights and things like that to light to security on the parking lot. Okay. Yeah, I think that's one thing we do. We have a lot of poles out there in that area, so we probably can do the Southwest on box lighting, I think.
And the only other thing that I've noticed, if we could get some ceiling tiles replaced in there from previous leaks up in the office area, there's a lot of those missing. And there's one leak.
Front office on the west, southwest corner.
As y'all remember, we over the years with Craig, I think when Craig first moved in, we had several leaks. And really and truly, I think Tom can tell you this, the leaks are not as bad. Since Craig, the warehouse has been there, we had somebody constantly coming in there and telling us how you get a leak this place or you get a leak here. And over the years, we probably have had, there, probably, 5, 6 times just to fix certain areas and wind damage too. So that's one thing, that the leak in the roof is not,
It's not bad, there's just a couple that
they get that metal like fixed. Take care of
had some insulation up on one of the metal.
We looked at the women's bathroom. I was in there the other day, and the tin roof is sweating, and I think that's probably what caused those tiles falling on the women's bathroom.
that's the one we talked about looking for grants and stuff, the TVA. We're gonna get other grants down the road, see if we can get some relief on that down the road. But as of now, that's not part of this deal, as of now.
Let me be sure I got this. You said 2,200 until your lease at the other building ran out?
Yes, it's, July 1.
July 1, so you go up to 2,500.
At that point.
That's your proposal?
Yes.
2,500 for the rest of?
Well, for a year and a half, and then we would go to 3,000. 1,117.
How long lease are you going to sign, or options to renew, or?
Well, we were thinking, originally we said 2 years, then with an option to renew. And, you know, hopefully this is gonna be, GE brought this entire line back, and they were having it done offshore. And the president and CEO of GE was named the manufacturing czar for Barack Obama. And so he wanted to take the lead and started bringing back manufacturing into the United States up in Louisville, Kentucky. And that's where our product will go then. That's where they're assembling the washers and dryers and refrigeration and stuff.
And Electrolux just bought.
Electrolux just
GE.
bought GE. They actually won't consummate the deal until about June or July of next year.
No.
And that's one of the dark horses in the race.
Whirlpool doesn't like that, do
No, I'm sure not. Electrolux is a major,
Yeah.
major company.
they? Yeah.
And much bigger than GE. They just bought the GE appliances. They didn't buy
Okay.
all of GE, just the appliances. So, and they're a Swedish company. So it's got to go, you know, through the federal trade and all that to get approvals before it's actually agreed to. But everybody seems to think it's going to go on.
You would be moving out of the other building, which is
Yes.
about half the space of this building, right?
The Clark building is 10,000 square feet.
This is
This
23,000.
is 23, including the offices, yes.
Just a question for you, Chief, and maybe for you too. I'm worried about the sprinkler system. I don't mean to harp on that, but can you have members working there without a sprinkler system?
The insurance premiums are greater.
Yes, okay. But OSHA will let you do that?
Yeah, that's not an OSHA requirement.
Okay. Just want to make
Based
sure.
on what they're gonna store in the building,
Okay,
and that, and we'll talk about that further with it, but the only, me and Brent walked around the building, and the only thing I'd like to bring up, Mr. Mayor, is there's gonna have to be quite a few fire extinguishers, all in all, so that's, ours are there, so.
The fire extinguisher should be part of the plan.
yeah.
Yeah, that's,
You gotta have that.
oh, we saw some in there, but I mean, we have to
There's a
talk
few
about
in
it.
there.
For y'all's own benefit, you need to have, and we'll try to get you some kind of code on it, you have to.
Just trying to think of all these things that might come up in the middle of this.
Mhm.
Tom, what's your current lease that you're paying on the Clark building right now?
We're paying 25.
25.
About 1,000 a year.
Yes, sir.
How quickly are you gonna hire? You need a Monday, huh? Okay.
No, we'll start, we've got to get the building ready and everything, equipment, there's some equipment being built for us.
Okay.
It's plastic welding.
Mhm.
It's not welding like you traditionally think. It's you soften the metal and then press them together and it fuses together.
Wow.
And then this is gonna be for the lid for the washing machine. So it's gonna have a piece of glass in the middle of it.
Just for, how many employees do you have now?
Total,
Yes, sir.
and, we are 74 employees.
Down here now.
Yeah, but I think on
That's it.
but on this, your GE, new assembly, you do, how many you got, just on that one, you did that one, just recently?
The Reese is up to 17.
17, and when you go move over here, what is the increase, what do you see as a net increase?
I said before, and I'm trying to see where you're gonna be, gonna be at 100 or?
We're gonna be just shy of 100, I think. Yeah, we'll probably be closer to 90.
Okay. So we're creative
Jim, and I mean, what, I was, want to ask the board for is the lease deal that y'all discussed, but what I was asking the board to do is we were looking at for our part of it, we were looking at, as you know, the industrial fund got moved to the economic development fund because of how the auditors did it. I think we have how much, 200 and what,
We have $200,000 in capital outlay reserve in the ECD budget.
and what we're asking to do is to move 75,000 from that into the line item, in the same budget, the economic development, into its,
Maintenance of building.
maintenance of building,
Currently, that budget is
500.
And that's the money we just put in there just to fix little things
Things
that
that
go on.
you know, like this.
We never know exactly. Right now, I don't think we spent much of any of that money yet in the current year. In fact, we haven't spent any yet. But we're gonna move up where we can spend up to $75,000 with y'all's approval.
Approval, the league budget start doing it.
And then that leaves you a balance of $125,000 in capital outlay reserve for whatever else might come up.
I think, just looking at the whole deal and the whole thing, that we've got to do something with the building regardless.
Yeah, the building.
Whether it's leased or not, we've got to do something with it. We've got to fix it. So I see this as a win-win for all of us. They're willing to bite the bullet, put some of their money in there to do some work and clean it up, and they'll take care of it. And I think we need to be willing to put our money in there and take care of it. And we tried to sell the building, that didn't work. It's been on the market on and on. And I think as far as my feelings, we need to approve this, move forward, and go ahead and get a lease agreement drawn up that would be to hit their specifications until 2017 forward. And then we can talk after that about a new lease agreement. But I feel like this is a win-win for the city of Henderson, the residents, and the board, and the city. So that's all I'll say. But the board
It's two different.
Yeah, that's another thing we need to, the lease agreement. What we have with, and this is something that you really need to talk about, what we have with Southwest Human Resources. You know, at the time we owned the building, when we did, there's provided for example, when we owned the building, we paid for the insurance on the building, which did that, but it's kind of a triple net lease. We would repair, what was our major repair we would do?
I think on that building, we did roof, HVAC units, and pretty much that's it.
That is.
Everything else, they take care of the roof to the maintenance.
In other words, your tow motor runs through the side of the wall. It's yours, it's yours.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's kind of how we do, Matrix kind of triple net lease. And that's kind of, but our responsibility is, of course, is to keep the insurance on the building and things like that. And that's kind of how we lease it to be.
And we're fine with that.
So you would deal with your own plumbing issues, changing light bulbs, which pretty much anything that's just standard routine maintenance
Right.
would be Neo's responsibility. Roof leaks, or if storm goes through, rips half the roof off, of course, we deal with all that. Normally, the HVAC units are normally covered in that type of lease, whether we would be the ones covering the maintenance of those. We know you're installing some new ones, so we'd have to make sure everybody's on agreement.
No who's is who's.
Who's is who and what's what. Of course, any improvements you would make to the building would have to stay at the end of the lease.
Exactly.
And I think everybody understands that.
You were talking about a 2-year lease up at the start, you said?
Well, when we first started talking about it.
I mean, I'm not just thinking myself out loud, I'm not averse to us thinking in terms of maybe putting some kind of, you going through some kind of inflation ladder with an option to renew. You want to go up 5% a year for the next so many years, we can work that out. I'm not averse to that. I don't know whether you thought about that or not.
I hadn't, but we're certainly open to that.
That way you kind of know what you're getting into beyond the 2 years. We as a board
I brought it up to Tom the other day that we were at chamber meeting, and Neil Smith, at the time Neil was the county executive when Neil came here, and Neil was talking about Tom's father moved a trailer out there and lived in a trailer where they built the building because he wouldn't watch how it got built.
You want to oversee it?
So, Brent, do you have anything that you want to, we need to bring up, or anything, any information we get to the board? Jim, anything we had touched, you think we need to touch? One other thing, I'm throwing it out there, I have no problem going to ask. If they tell me no, they tell me no, but I think after we, put our gravel down and gravel sets, we can ask the county, since the city-owned property, I'll be valued really, the county would be made interested in tar and chip that as an investment in the economic development of industrial glass.
I think it's worth the effort to ask and let them say no.
I think that's something after we get the gravel down and everything else and settles, we can come back and maybe tar and chip that. But I don't ask them if that's something that they have the equipment to do. And I think we'd have, the county would have to pay, to reimburse the highway department if they did that. They'd have to, for the materials and stuff. But we can't do that. We've done it at Dixie Park. We've done it as nonprofits. And since the city owns that, we can do that back and forth to each other, things like that.
Yeah, and that'll help the life of that parking lot too.
Sure.
With that being said, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this lease as it will be worked out between Jim and the mayor and the corporation and Leo. And we look forward to approve this process, this lease this building, and what we need to do.
To help me understand the terms, I think we're pretty much know what each of us are doing. Beforehand, we will work with you on all the details. As far as the term of the lease, we're saying 2,200 till July 1.
July 1, the next year.
2,500 starting July 1, 2015.
Correct.
It continues to that amount to July 1, 2017.
Yes, so we'd actually make it a 26-month lease
Okay.
on the original lease, just so we can get it to the first 2
And then
years.
it goes to 3,000 for the next.
Either that, or as Keith suggested, maybe we do it at some kind of inflation rider.
Whether we want to pick that up after that next year, say from 2017 to 2018, now 3,000, and either renegotiate at that point, or put the escalator in there at the 5% if they want to renew that way. And go up to 5 or whatever.
And the 3,000 was started at 1,117.
1,117.
I think go to 18, go to 18, and then at 2018, do the escalator.
The 5% escalator, July 1, 2018, and then every year thereafter.
And then go after that. With them having the option to automatically renew the escalator clause if they want.
So we're gonna
Or come
be-
back to the table and renegotiate.
Yeah, on 18, we're gonna be on, once we go to 17, are we gonna, now, the lease for your part's only gonna be to 15, correct?
No, it'll go.
Still go to 17,
December 31, 2016.
2016, and from there, now are we gonna go, and then are we gonna go 1-year lease each year after that? Is that what we're gonna do?
Well, we can negotiate that too.
You wanna negotiate that, if you wanna go 2 years or 3, okay.
I was saying, like, all of 17 would be your proposed 3,000, then 18 bump up 5%, which would be 3,150. And then the next year it'd go up another 5%.
One thing after 2017 it goes, I think we're fixing, I think we're gonna have to come back.
At some point, we got to.
We're gonna have to come back in 2017, to whoever, whatever board's here, will have to come back with the lease to.
Well, you know, one thing for doing escalator clause is get too carried away with it over a period of 20 years.
You know,
I'm
what I'm honestly thinking,
You can't get caught up in that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Your business may not be growing that fast, or you not be doing this.
Yes.
I think escalators clause is good for us.
Or maybe we can peg it.
Well, I think my suggestion is once it goes to 2017, it's 3,000. When we, at the end of 2000, before the end of the year, 2017, we come back and
So you say January 2017, we go to 3,000.
go to 3,000, and then.
January, and then that entire year of 2017 is 3,000.
And then the board, everybody has to come back to the table at the end of 2017, decide what the negotiation's gonna be then.
Now, you know, like we're talking about the spring, we expect the rent to go up a little bit on that, to help offset the cost.
Well, and we would,
And they would-
our insurance premium should come
Yeah,
down.
you should come
also,
down,
so
that'd be a win-win for both people there too, so you would get short, save money on the insurance, help us pay off the sprinkler system, so.
Right now, sprinkler system's off the table as
Yeah.
far as the initial agreement.
I think the whole thing, that's something would come back to the board, I think, as I talked to Tom, that's gonna be something we're gonna be looking with Tracy Exxon Economic Development, things like that, and try to see what's out there. You know, every year there's something out there, if you get in the right place at the right time, get a little lucky, you can get those grants, and that'd be something we'll be looking for on a regular basis, trying to, for upgrading, because sometimes they give you those grants, you can upgrade the city-owned buildings, and that's something we would look very much to do. It would be, it's kind of like I told you, it's one of those things we know back when the Obama money hit the table, when it first hit the table, we could try to get some grant money, retrofit lighting in that building at the time, it was not feasible. For the hindsight. All right, I got a motion, let's go over the motion so we know where, because there's a lot of things to it. You can go ahead.
You still gonna read that back?
Yes, sir, I do. Yes, I do.
It's my understanding the initial term of the lease for $2,200 a month will go from November the 1st until July the 1st, 2015. Starting July the 1st, 2015 until the end of 12/31/2016 will be at $2,500 a month. Starting January 1, 2017, it will be $3,000 a month for that year.
For that year,
And at the end of that year, everything's done, we renegotiate. There's no option right now in the wording, there's no guaranteed renewal. We sit down here and sometime during 2017, we negotiate that one.
that sounds fine.
Is that what I'm saying?
And then
Pretty much
also,
everybody's agreed
and
about
also-
what each person's doing.
And then also need a motion to move the money.
I will second Johnny's motion for the lease. I think we've got a second.
Is that including, John, is that including moving the money?
And I'll include in my motion, we go ahead and transfer the line item of the money to where we need to spend.
Okay, we have a second announcement. Is there any further discussion on it? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by aye. All opposed, signify by no. Motion carries. Tom, I'll get with you tomorrow, we'll still do all the other stuff that we gotta do, and Tom's I'll get with him.
I'm gonna be out of town next week, but if we get everything
Figure it out, training and start to get draft lease up, and we'll get it to y'all.
that's fine. If you can email it to me, I can review it that way.
We can do that.
Glad to have you.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. We're excited about this.
Good.
Good.
This is one of the people that we talked about, this is one where you get 25 jobs in your, and what counties and towns have to do is get that 25 jobs, this is a pretty good deal for us, so we appreciate it.
Like I said, we're excited about it. We thank you for your help and cooperation.
Still on the building, usually we have to give everything away, we still on the building.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom, appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
Big time.
Okay, next item on the agenda, we had, is drainage, discussion if possible, the drainage, rehab on South Church, right across the street from, I guess, Bell Drive in and out there. I think Jimmy Thomas is here, come on up, address the board. I think I told him that we were told this Neo, he was gonna be out of town during our next board meeting, and I told him since we were doing a special session, I would just add this to the special session. And we did that. So, go ahead.
I bought the outfield building about 6 months ago, and I'm trying to fix it back up, so it's presentable to the community. And I was looking at that ditch up there, it's washing a little bit every year, and it's gotten where I can't even use that side really to park on anymore to go inside the building, if I needed some parking on that side of the road. I put new roofs on it right now, planning on painting it, getting everything back up to where it needs to be. It's been neglected for 10 or 15
catch basin.
So that's what, $10,000-$15,000?
The 200 feet, is that all the way to Mill, or is that just?
That's just that.
Just the surface, just the drive?
That's not all the way to Mill, that's just that.
It's from here, Keith, to.
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
in and out, the two drive.
Covered, yeah.
On doing a job like that, all that, go down and look at that, because I've got an ordinance in front of us, driveway connections and stuff like that. It talks about how much we can do according to this. Of course, this is out, could be way outside our normal scheme of doing things. But when you look at that, you've got all those pipes coming off the side of the building, the white part down on the far end, look at them close. And then up at the on the north end, you go up there and look, there's a Y coming out there. If you've been down there, look, there's two covers, one coming straight out, one actually hanging across the parking lot that comes into that area. Am I right on that?
That's right.
On that, on those areas where you have to do that, you have to concrete that in, patch it in, you gotta make cuts in the covers, put that in.
Well, you would have to have some kind of catch basin or junction box, because with being plastic, depending on if you put plastic in there, you can't really cut it.
Well, that's what I'm getting at here, you know, what I'm getting at, if we're involved, the city's involved, we're gonna have to do it right. We can't put what he wants in there. You know, we're gonna have to, you understand where I'm going, we're gonna have to design this thing the way we want to, because we don't want to watch out the future to be ours. So you're talking about, when you're doing stuff like when you look at stuff like, you're talking, if you put that whole ditch, you might be talking $30,000 to do that whole job. I mean, because when you go in there and put what's the catch basin cost for us?
Well, they, from any time you pour a concrete box, you're probably looking at anywhere from probably $1,000 to $1,200 just to do that.
So we're gonna have to have at least three, because you got two pipes coming in off that white building, so that's three.
One of them pipes is, has been disconnected. It was for the gutter system,
Okay.
so it's just one.
But anyway, I think it's, I think if we look nice down there to do that, and I don't know if the city can afford just to do that for aesthetic purpose down through there. When you look at the exact cost of it, I couldn't make a decision to it tonight, because I don't know the full extent of the cost. So, if you checked on the full extent of the cost, what they do that, you come
No,
up
I have
with.
not.
I think that'd be something to really know what it's actually gonna cost. I can't commit to myself, the other board members might be able to, but to commit to a project that may cost anywhere from $15,000 to $35,000.
Yeah, I like to say the price of living for it, and everything else.
I think aesthetically, it looked nice to have that fixed in done. And then I still don't know if you could park on that side.
Well,
On top of those
that's
scope,
that's not for the park, I wouldn't have to pull in off the street, as long as I can go in and you can put a curb up there, the state didn't want you to come straight out on the highway, I don't mind, it's just getting wider every year, a little bit.
I don't think there's ever been parking down through there, have you?
Well, you can't park,
You can't park.
you can't back out of the street, you see the city ordinance.
Yeah.
Drive down through there.
You could drive down, I see where the gravel is there. I went down and looked at it real close, and then the poles are in the way, I don't know what we do with the utilities, I don't know if Southwest will let us,
Gas line down there too.
I think it's gas line, I'm sure there's some utilities that are probably water and everything. I don't know what all.
Besides Carter, giving you a quote, looking at, have you looked at a private contract, taking the city out of it?
No, that's not. I started with, Carter, about, I don't know, a couple months ago, started talking to you, and it's kind of went on up to Mr. Sheriff and Mr. Bobby. And, I was just saying that the city, what help they would, let's record it.
Well, the city ordinance, and tell me if this falls under, tell me if this falls under. Says the property owner is responsible for providing all necessary covers. The public works director will approve the size of all drainage pipes, including driveway connections, stormwater drains, but in no case shall any pipe be less than 12 inches in diameter except for unusual circumstances. The city will install 124, I guess that's foot section of pipe and the necessary gravel for a driveway connection requested an approval plan by the property owner. The city may install them, but all costs for the cover, case basin, storm drains, gravel, etc. will be paid by the property owner. Will this fall under that section? Will this fall under that?
I think it could, that's the city ordinance.
Well, that's pretty plain, in my opinion.
That's what I'm doing. I asked him to look it up, see what we can do, what we do.
What it boils down to, under the city ordinance, Carter brought this to my attention, the wording, you know, I wrote it years ago, I forgot exactly how it was worded. What it boils down to, if the city wants to do this, the city can provide, because it is on right of way, we're talking about maybe pipe on the right of way, and this is on the right of way, can install the pipe, of course, with our approval, y'all's approval, with the city approval, as the pipe size being necessary by Carter, but the property owner is responsible for paying for all materials. That means everything. The pipe, whatever it takes to build the catch basins, the grates on top, any backfill, dirt, gravel, whatever, would have to be covered by the property owner. And, you know, we're hearing numbers pushing $10,000 really for material is what we're talking about. Not counting city labor, equipment, and manpower. That we have the option to do it, and that would be our portion of the project. But still, it's our option. It's not mandatory that we do it, since we made it. So, that's the
But it
board's
certainly
problem.
prohibits us from going in and buying the materials and doing it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, you know, this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but this ditch is fairly deep, 5 to 6 feet wide. It's probably 8 to 10 feet wide, I'm just guessing.
Places.
Carter said what, there's a 30-inch pipe will have to be placed in the bottom, and then that is a lot of backfill material.
That's what I'm.
When you start figuring cubic yards, either dirt or gravel, they don't have, but not knowing what he wants to do with it, you may be able to backfill it with dirt. It's not gonna make it suitable driveway. But, you know, if it's not good for driveway, then you can backfill with dirt, otherwise you want to almost have to backfill with gravel. That is a lot of gravel. So, it's gonna get expensive just to have that much backfill for gravel.
I noticed where the metal building connects to the brick,
Yes.
it looks like the water just comes shooting straight off of that, and that's the worst spot down there.
Well, I'm putting a whole new system on there right now. They're down there working on it right now, putting a whole new drainage system between the metal buildings and the brick building, putting a new roof on it and new piping there.
Yeah, there's actually needs to be, the way I looked at it, Carter, correct me if I'm wrong, at least the 2 catch basins. One at the beginning of the ditch on the north end, where the pipe goes sort of from the dock, over from the dock area, or wherever it comes from. Right there, you have to build a catch basin there. And then you need one right where the buildings connect, because you got that water coming off, you're talking about plastic. Even though they may change, you're still got that water will be coming down there. Something else we would need to make sure we did, whatever the finished grade is here, needs to be lower than the road. Last thing you need to do is be pushing water out on the road or across the road. You need to do that.
Carter, how much, man hours you talking about? You just talk, I know you can't say you close top of your head, how many man hours are you talking about for our department, tree department?
It's a pretty good bid, it'd be some days on, you know, as far as.
You say a week, a week, 7 days, 7 hours? Now, that being said, with the order, I'm not opposed to us looking at it, if he wants to buy the material and looking at it, and if Carter thinks he's got the personnel that he can do it, I'm not opposed to looking at him, look at the material and see if he wants to do it that way. If he does, we can come back and make a decision on what we want to do. After you price the materials, gravel, backfill, catch basin material, and you might get with Carter to figure out what all it's gonna take. And then if you're still interested in that, let us bring it back and we can see what we want to do.
There may be another option that's not as expensive, like a rip wrap or something down there, just to build it back up, keep it from washing it further. Cause it looked like it, by that loading dock, it wasn't washed that bad, cause they've got a bunch of that piled in there, and it's kind of kept it from widening out. You might, that's a more economical way of doing it, than putting colors.
Yeah, I just like to look real nice. I mean, this kind of eyesore going down through there.
And I agree with that part, and that's the reason I'm willing to go along and try to, if we're gonna pick 7 or 8 days, when he says 7 or 8 days, he's talking about a crew of 6, 7 men down there working, man hours, you're talking probably
trucks to go to the ground.
Now, gravel, if we backfill with gravel, we'll order directly from our suppliers.
So
They just handle
bring it to
it
the-
straight from our supplier and dump it on the side.
We'll be charged for
But that would save us a ton of miles right there alone.
If
But we don't have big tandem trucks that we're hauling.
They could bring it in,
back
dump it
and
on
forth
site,
from
we can do that.
That'd just be their regular charge, what they would charge us. They would be on him what they would normally do.
Just whatever they charge us to deliver and dump it. And then you guys have exact
And
cost.
I agree, and I commend you for wanting to make that look better. I understand, because I've looked at it for years. As a matter of fact, I've mentioned it before, that I wish we could afford to do something with that, but it's just an expensive area. But anyway, that'd be, I don't know if I need to make a motion, that I think we just table it till the next time.
Yeah.
I make a motion table to further information together.
Have a motion to table, do I have a second? Second. I think somebody in the back was trying to get our attention. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah.
My name is Tom Baxter, I'm at baseball, softball school down there. And I just wondered if, I didn't hear anybody, when I stand there and I look at what's down there, I'm looking at a ditch that's almost 7 feet deep, 7 feet wide, and it's that far from the road. And I just wonder if anybody's considered what the liability would be if someone who daily backs out of Bill's Drive in there, somebody ends up in the ditch and hurts themselves. Well, I guess it hasn't happened yet, but
Let's be honest, let's be honest. Since you started off trying to bring this up, let's be honest. But I got a little stinger for you anyway. You got me in the one. I couldn't think about the comebacks. I'm a little slow sometimes, but I'll be good. One is, think about this, IPL, we probably had cars parked all the way around that thing for 50 years. I'm talking about, I remember a kid growing up, there was cars parked everywhere. Right now, we have very little traffic, anything going on, and now we need, this, we want to do this, or, so, this is something that's been this way for many, many years. So it's not something that just happened, it's just how it is. Now, do we want to fix it? Yes. We'd like to make it look better, yes. But in the big scheme, there's ditches all the way, go out in the county, there's ditches you run off the road that are 20 foot deep. I mean, it is what it is.
Usually not 2 foot.
Yeah, but I realize there's some around the edge of the roadway. But you made a point, you made a statement to me that kind of got me the other day. You made a statement that you gave us $6,000 in taxes. And I said, man, is that, how much?
Well, that's total.
And I said, man, so it got me, and I went and looked it up. Well, let's be honest, you pay us about you pay the city about $2,000. You pay the county, which is twice as much as the city. You pay them a little over $4. But we're here in the city asking for us to do this stuff. And another thing that kind of got me, and I got him too, I said something to him too, was Jerry King. I asked Jerry King, the question is, Jerry, you told Jimmy that you said the city ought to do this. And that's what you told me. And I thought for a second, I said, wait a minute, Jerry, you worked here for 20 some odd years, and you never thought about this shit. Now you got elected over here to sit in the county, and you're telling us we need to fix this ditch. And I said, that kind of bothered me a little bit, But I called Jerry, got him, the county mayor there, I got him voted to do it.
But he didn't say that.
I'm telling you, you know how us politicians are, we kind of spin it a certain way. But I just want to be clear, your city taxes are only half, less than half of what your county taxes are. And for those cities, if you think about it, for those taxes, let me ask you this question. If that building was sitting outside the city limits of Henderson, what do you reckon and you have no fire protection or nothing, no fire, nothing going to it, except for the pumper trunks from the county, what do you reckon your fire insurance would be on that building? So for what, let's be honest, and I know that, but let's be honest, that's when people start telling me that about taxes and stuff, and I really want to defend the city on it, because that taxes you pay, the two biggest things it pays for is his position to give you fire protection, and he's not here, Tommy's not the police. So, those are two of the biggest personnel budgets we have here for that reason, so that the services. So that kinda got me, because I thought when you first said that, I said, man, are we charging them that much taxes? And then I went and looked, I realized it's county and city votes.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say like you did.
I know. I realize when we say we pay taxes, we add them all together. It still comes out of the same pot. I understand. It still comes out of the same pot.
I guess we need to go to fact finding situation, figure out what, whether
I
you
must
want
be
to
a
do
politician too.
it.
But no, we have a motion, we didn't even take a vote on the motion. Have a motion to table in a second.
Second.
Have 10 seconds, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by aye. All opposed, signify. We'll get with them, and what we need to do realistically, we need to honestly get somebody to say how much is gonna go in that ditch. We wanna fill that ditch up. If we fill it up with gravel, it's gonna be X cost. We need to get those figures so we can sit here. This is the problem we need to do is when we do these things. We need to honestly give this board a figure. We're sitting here, we've thrown out numbers from 5,000 to 15,000. We gotta get some kind of, we gotta get a little better on knowing when we do these projects, when you come up here and ask something, we can know exactly what those figures
If
are.
he's gonna buy all the material, we just need to know what it's gonna cost him. He needs to know what it's gonna cost him to get the material. through.
That's something we can work together on that, because like you say, if he decides he wants to do that, we can purchase the materials to come through us on our bid. Because it's on a right of way, it can come through on our bid, on what we get, the bid to us each year, it's a lot less.
We can work together on that.
That part.
We just need,
Just
everybody
decide
needs
if
to
you
know
wanna
what it's
spend that
gonna
kind of
cost.
money, that's the main
Yeah.
thing.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. You
He
threw Jerry King on the bus, and I sure did enjoy going at him.
come down the other day, I dropped him, I told him, come down and look at this, and he looked at it, I said, what do you think about it? He said, well, that means something that needs to fix, I said, you think the city will help, and he said, they should.
Until he works for the county now. Has anybody, we have no other issue that we can vote on or anything, but does anybody like to address the board on any other issues before we get through? Does anybody like to address the board on? Okay, I think we have people from the utility department. Is there any problems with the utility department we need to know about?
And we've got our system about going. Bills are done.
Now, I think if anybody has any, Tommy,
Speaking of utilities, they turned the power off now over there also.
I will, well, we'll get it turned on.
Well, it didn't really start November 1st.
There's some things we need to get checked out over
A good thing. Carter, you have anything? I think if anybody has any information, we'll give the board a good time just to give them some.
Two things, audit reports are in my office in the box, I meant to bring them up here to give you copies. If you will step to my office as we leave, I will give you a copy of the audit report for you to take home. It'll probably be the December meeting is what we're gonna try to schedule, Mike, here to come down and address the board about the audit. We also need to discuss the November meeting real quick.
Because we're.
Just want to remind the aldermen on the board and as well as everybody else in the audience that we have Family Fun and Fitness Day down at Gene Record Park on Saturday to kind of christen the new walking track that's been built. There will be a ribbon cutting at 10:30 and encourage everybody to come out and to support that. Yes, work, Dresden.
I think, Johnny and I and Keith, anybody else wants to help us, we're doing major stuff, we're doing hot dogs this time.
Yeah.
We're doing hot
For
dogs.
fitness day, we're doing hot dogs.
I think, well, see, the fitness is the one,
If they're gonna be Nathan.
John, to make that even worse, since the O'Neill Lane lunch cannot do the Halloween because of pink out ball game.
Yeah.
They're serving s'mores at
At
the
the
ballpark.
fitness
Yeah.
day. Well, that
They're-
sounds like
they're-
my kind of fitness
They're
day.
doing s'mores, so.
Their s'mores made with Dixie Sweet.
Yeah, it's low fat.
Keith. As y'all know, the meeting in November, we've got a lot of conflicts. I will be at the governor's conference. The question, matter of fact, that's one of the reasons we moved this up to to hear, one of the reasons was to take as much off this next agenda as we can. So the agenda, what is the status of the three of y'all? Are y'all going to be able to be here from 7 o'clock on, or you're not going to be here?
The show starts at 7. It's the Hee Haw Show. Mark, myself, and Snookum, we're in the show. And it starts at 7, and we're required to be there an hour early and doesn't end till 9.
According to the city charter, we have, because the mayor is gone, we have to have 5 board members. Four would be if the mayor was here, but since he's gone, Michael Vice Mayor has to serve in his position, so he doesn't count as part of the quorum. So we got to have 5 members here.
So
to have them in.
I'm at the governor's conference, and one reason I'm at the governor's conference is to keep us qualified for 3 stone. I have to be there until we get 3.
Can we not just be here and then,
Here's-
not meet, show up and then leave and?
The charter states less than a quorum can recess to come back another night. You can't just say we're not having it and cancel it. According to the charter,
Yeah.
somebody has to show
Yeah,
up.
what we'll have to do is we'll have to have at least two board members to be here at the meeting,
Let's put it here.
3 here.
You got
And all you have to do, and all you have to do is, would be, Michael would just open it up and then one board member would make a motion. We do not have a quorum. We will make a motion, we recess this meeting until, if y'all choose to do it Monday, which I would suggest we do it as quick as possible to do it. I would suggest we set it on Monday, but that's up to you on that meeting. So set it on Monday at 7 o'clock or whatever time you want to set it on.
That will be Monday, November 17th.
I was gonna ask, do we have to give enough notice to advertise?
No, we recess it. We recess it.
We don't have to
But the
advertise.
question is, I want to make sure that Mary knows that she doesn't have to be here on that Thursday, but she'll have to be here the Monday, for that's when the meeting will be. So
November
we can
17th.
do that.
Anybody got a conflict? I'm fine.
I think the whole board will be back on
I'm
Monday.
gonna look at
Y'all have
my.
Lions Club. Y'all can skip.
Oh, we can skip a Lions Club.
I hope so.
Can beat you your second month of
I
office.
know.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm serious. You know, it's gonna kind of look bad. It's gonna-
Do you want me to put it in the paper that it will be on Thursday, or do you want me to mention anything about
I
that?
think you would say that board members are not available, because we find that board members not be available, but it will be recessed until Monday.
Okay.
It will be.
But, you know, it kind of looked kind of bad on you, Donald, that you got because if you were Minnie Pearl, the reason why, and dressed up like Minnie Pearl or something.
Well, thank you.
Y'all put it on, I'm good, so I don't think there'll be any conflicts for anybody, so, we're gonna do the 7 p.m. on the 17th.
7 p.m. on Saturday.
But we still have to have some board members, we still have the board members come here and open up the meeting.
We'll be here.
And
Can we,
It's only 15 minutes.
can the recess require Donna to come to me per on the 17th?
I'd be glad to.
You'd be so glad to be here.
But I would like to say if it's my turn.
it's your turn.
Hee Haw tickets are on sale at the Chamber of Commerce and at the Clayton Bank and the Chester County Bank. And this is a chamber event. It's a fundraiser for the chamber. The money all stays here that we raised. We raised about $9,000 last year. So that money, a lot of it went to literacy programs, like at the library and things like that. So I would love to see, 4 shows, that they're all sold out, because there's lots of good things going on with that money, and we really need to push the show. No, sir.
I'm good, thank you, sir.
Okay. Anyone else like to address the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Why are we-